All right. So, hello, my pride and joy, and thank you for visiting another episode of The Life to Roar. And today we have Maurice Neal with us, and he's going to talk about financial situation with life insurance. And I'm understanding life insurance is not what you think it is, not what it used to be, anyways, if I'm right. So, Maurice, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit, and then we can talk a little more on this topic.
Hello, everyone. LS, thank you very so much for allowing me to participate in your platform, in your platform of your viewers. Um, I'm greatly honored. This is actually my first podcast.
All
Um,
right.
so, who is Maurice Neal? Maurice Neal has always been an entrepreneur. Before there was GameStop, there was Maurice Stop. So, going back to my the days of the original Nintendo, I would actually rent out my Nintendo cartridges to the kids in the neighborhood per day. um, all the way up to my life now as an adult. Um, and the idea of true entrepreneurship to where there was an eye awakening for me was when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And from that point, I knew I technically didn't want to spend the rest of my life working for anyone. But at that time, I didn't have any form of direction at all or where I wanted to go. And then just 5 years ago, I'm now honored and blessed. Well, actually, 7 years ago, I'm honored and blessed to have, give a shout out to my mentors, Dr. Obama Bowen, Marvin and Dee Del Valle, and last but not least, Patrick Bet David. So I truly thank those individuals for coming into my life and making my life what it is right now.
That's
So
awesome. I
thank
love
you.
that. um, um, it's it shows that we come from all different walks in life to where we are, and to see you be an entrepreneur at such a young age and renting out your Nintendos, that's pretty fantastic. But then going on to getting the mentors and the coaches, because everybody needs mentors and coaches. I've heard people say that if you don't have a mentor or coach, that they're not going to work with you. And the reason is because we all need to be learning. We need to get further than where we are. Even people like John Maxwell has a mentor and a coach. It's just
Absolutely.
amazing. Dr. Obama had a mentor and a coach. In fact, he still does, and that's wonderful. So you've gone all this way from Nintendos to a financial. Let me get the right word. Financial solutions. The benefits of having life insurance. Um, so maybe tell us, what is life insurance? I mean, most of us think of life insurance as something that you pay into to have money for your spouse or another person in the event of your passing. So is there more to life insurance than that?
Yes, there is. So let me go back a little bit. So
Okay.
my mission is to um, change lives financially, spiritually, and physically. Physically, that's my purpose. That's my mission in life. And I'm able to utilize the industry of financial services, which involves life insurance. So, as a financial solutions agent, I help people save money, make money, and get out of debt again through life insurance. So, one of the things about life insurance is a lot of individuals have basically bought into the myths or the misconceptions of what life insurance actually is. Life insurance is it basically it helps you, it provides protection. That's the number one thing in case or in the event of something happening. That's one of the things that we need to understand. In case something was to happen, we know we all required by law to carry car insurance. Do we want to be involved in a car accident? No, not at all. But in case something was to happen, those things are in place. We carry insurance on our cell phones. Do we want our phones to break? Absolutely not. But we carry insurance on it just in case. So I asked the audience, what do you value most? Your cell phone, your car, or your life? And if I was if I'm speaking to myself, obviously I would value my life.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
so if I can, LS, talk about some of the products that life insurance involves.
Sure.
Okay, so most people are familiar with term insurance. Term insurance basically are offered through many different entities, our 9 to 5 jobs, for the most part. And I always, let me disclaimer: I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a financial solutions agent. So term insurance is basically your 40 hours, and everything else is overtime, or for the like post, but for the most. But um each product it has a unique situation with individuals, so forth. So what may work for an individual may not necessarily work for other people. But I always highly recommend everyone, if you're able to qualify, purchase term insurance, because term insurance is the highest amount of coverage for the least amount of money, especially someone who is young. Because let's just say, I don't know, just kind of just speaking in general, someone that's in their early 20s being able to have $1 million, policy for, let's just say, $50 or so a month, versus, versus someone my age trying to pay that right now of that amount of coverage. Um, and then there's the universal policy. So universal meaning permanent policies. These are policies that you will have for the rest of your life. And two examples of a universal policy is a whole life policy, which I refer to as the old money policy, which meaning that these type of policies, you accumulate cash value, and then you're able to borrow against the amount of money that you have in cash value. And once in your untimely misfortune, the death benefit will then pay out to whomever the beneficiaries are. And then the other universal policy is, we call it the Ferrari in our industry. It's called an IUL, which stands for Index Universal Life Policy. This policy also permanent policy, accumulates cash value, but then also it's flexible. So let's just say, for example, I contribute $200 one month, and then the next month I can contribute $1,000. I can contribute $1,000, and then also this particular policy will be able to allow you to have tax-free withdrawals.
Okay.
And then there is return of premium, which is tied in with a term policy. Basically, it allows policy owners to be able to have return of their premiums to them in different segments of the actual policy. And then there's final expense, which final expense is basically a whole life policy. And final expense policies are usually purchased from someone that's in their golden years, and it's just enough money to basically bury the individual.
Okay. Trying to write all of this down for you, or for my viewers. Oh, that penalty. Okay. All right.
So we look at life insurance if for my military people. And I know LS, you can relate to me. Basically, you can look at life insurance as a Swiss knife. It has
Okay.
so many different gadgets and functions. And I just, for many individuals, they're not aware of all of these different things. So myself and many other of my colleagues that are in this industry makes it well known to those about the importance and the benefits of life insurance.
Oh, that's interesting. So for military, um, I imagine they go through the military to get their insurance, or can they get non-military insurance?
No, what I meant, I guess what I meant was for my military people, they're familiar with a Swiss knife. So that's
Oh,
what I was
okay.
just trying to use the example of a Swiss knife. So if you take a pocket Swiss knife, for example, when you pull it out, you have this mechanism, this mechanism, this mechanism, this mechanism, this mechanism. And those are all the different essentials of what life insurance can be used for.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so for our viewers that are listening now, or are watching the video replay, let's maybe just take 3 ages. Say somebody is 19, finished high school, maybe not sure if they're going to college or not, so they've got the first job. And then let's take a second person who's family person, kids are in elementary school. And then let's take someone who's ready to retire, but maybe something happened and they haven't had insurance in the past. And so now they're looking for insurance. So for our 19-year-olds, what kind of insurance would you recommend for them, and why would you recommend it?
Okay, so number one, term insurance, because the 19-year-old individual would be able to take advantage of having a 30-year term policy, which, as I mentioned, is going to be the highest amount of coverage for the least amount of money.
Okay.
Also, I would recommend the IUL policy again, because the individual is young, more coverage available, but then also there is a much more wide span of time available for this 19-year-old. And with the amount of time the 19-year-old can be able to accumulate a substantial amount of cash value.
Okay.
And also depending on the 19-year-old's budget at the very moment, because if let's just say if the 19-year-old was in a special position, then he or she can contribute a lot more money, which then can overfund the IUL, which we call overfund. Basically, it's like the form of compound interest.
Okay.
So by the time they get to their retirement ages, they'll have a lot of money saved up.
All right. Let's talk to the family man they're barely making ends meet, but they know that life insurance is important. What do you recommend for them for their children and individuals? And I have a question to ask, if we can ask it real quick.
Okay, so
I know there's.
I'm sorry, go ahead,
Yeah,
Alex.
I just have a quick question. I know there's life insurance for children. I'll just say the name because I don't know how else to address it. It's Gerber Life Insurance.
Yes.
And do you recommend that for families?
Yes, I do. One of the things that I would mention to those who are viewing or listening is you can't have enough tools. You cannot have enough life insurance. So if if it falls within budget of being able to purchase as much life insurance as you can, by all means, do it. So Gerber, basically, it's a policy that most families will place on their children from the start of them being born, or I guess 1 or 2 years old, to going into their early, years of being an adult. So Gerber basically is a whole life policy, and while the child is growing and growing up, the cash value is actually accumulating. So once they become young adults, there's a certain amount of money that can be used for college. It can be used for a car. It can be used for a down payment on a home. So there's many different things. So Gerber, um, through having a whole life product, is actually preparing children. It's giving them a head start in life for the most part. Usually when children become of a certain age, the parents will give them their inheritance or a lot of different things. I'm thinking prodigal son that's going on in my mind right now. But at a certain age, they're given a certain amount of money and inheritance and so forth to hopefully take that money and be able to do something with it. And that's the gift that we as parents would want to be able to give to our children.
Good,
So
good.
that's my understanding of way of how Gerber works.
Okay. And so for families, there's things like that. There's like Baby Millionaire that I had Cheryl was on before. And so that's good. But what's the purpose of life insurance for families? I know there's more to it than just there in case something happens, because you can borrow on these, right? I remember my mom would use her life insurance quite often to draw money out for something that her and dad would need, or vacations or something like that. When they moved to a different state, they helped use for down payment on a house, and then she'd pay back on it. So that worked out really well for her. Are there other benefits to having insurance besides using it as like your kind of own private bank account?
Yes, I'm glad that you mentioned that, LLS. So basically, they had a whole life policy, um, and as you mentioned, they were able to do all of these different things, and that's very important that you mentioned that um, with life insurance, with the whole life policy as well as the IUL, you are able to create your own bank because we just recently went through hearing about Silicon Valley Bank, and then there was the other bank. Um, with banks, we obviously know that they don't pay you a lot of money in interest, in your checking on savings. You have to get to a certain status to where you may possibly see 2 or 3% return on your money. But with life insurance, you're exceeding that less than 1% that the bank will give you. You're well over 1% in a return on your money. And as you mentioned, with the whole life policy, IUL policy, you now can take money from these accounts, and then you can, let's just say, invest into whole life policy, IUL policy. You can basically invest into different forms of a business or pay off bills. You can do a lot of different things besides just allowing your money just to sit into a bank. Usually, what I try to do with banks now is have, let's just say, an emergency fund, and then also just use the bank to pay my bills. But as far as the long term, life insurance.
Right. Okay. So let's talk to someone who's maybe close to retirement age, or has retired, taken off work, or maybe there's been an injury or an accident or something, and they've lost their job, they've lost all their insurance through all that, they've used up the funds. Now they're ready to regroup and start over again, basically. So for those over 50, let's say, what are some good things for them to do for their insurance? Or is it
Okay,
a good idea at that point?
okay, so again, at around the age of 50, depending on pre-existing health conditions, someone at age 50 can still qualify for a term policy, maybe 10 or 20 years that they're giving. As I mentioned, always the highest amount of coverage that you can actually have is always beneficial. Again, that's going to be based on the individuals, what they are able to afford. But someone from 50 years and older, I would always recommend a whole life policy, or if they're, let's say, a little bit more golden in their years, the final expense policies, because now you have protection in place. You know, you have your Social Security, which can be one part of that Swiss knife that I was mentioning earlier. You have, you know, maybe a 401k. Some individuals may have pensions. So you have all these different forms of retirement income, but insurance again will be able to supplement the necessary income that's needed.
Mhm.
One of the things, LS, that I want to highly stress that a lot of individuals are not aware of is living benefits. So most life insurance policies that are provided by different companies, and then everyone's whole ideal understanding of life insurance is someone has an untimely fortune of not being here anymore, and then a beneficiary is left with the coverage. But let me say this right here. We've heard the term eat your cake, have your cake and eat it too, right, LS?
Right.
Okay. So what if I told you with life insurance, you can have your cake and eat it too? So
Okay.
this is where the living benefits come into play. Okay. In the event that I am covered under life insurance and every policy that I've just mentioned, besides final expense, carries living benefits. So I'm an individual, whether I'm young or whether I'm old, and I have a life insurance policy with living benefits. Any event of if I get hurt, if I'm working a 9 to 5 and I get hurt and I no longer can work anymore, based upon the different things that would be that I can accelerate any benefits. So let me list some of the things that the living benefits will literally cover.
Okay.
So most people are given the option in life insurance. They refer to it as a rider. So you're basically, let's just say you go to a car lot and you are purchasing a vehicle, but you have to pay extra money for leather seats and a
Mhm.
moonroof or a sunroof. So that's what you would technically have to pay for terminal illness, or in the form of terminal cancer. So most insurance companies will provide a rider which you pay extra for. And then there's chronic illness, which basically means that you can't perform any of the 6 daily activities, which will consist of, let's just say, bathing, dressing yourself, eating yourself, and then, cleaning yourself up after you go to the bathroom, and then being able to get back and forth to different places. And then there's critical illness, critical injury. And let me read some of the things that will fall under critical illness. Let's just say if you were diagnosed with ALS, blindness, cystic fibrosis, a heart attack, a stroke. And I'm actually reading this from a specific carrier that I'm a partner with. and
Okay.
providing these financial solutions. And let's just say critical injury would that what would fall under that is if you fell into a coma, if you became paralyzed, you became severely burnt. And the living benefits, what a lot of people say technically they haven't heard of it at all, not a whole lot of people, but with living benefits, with the exception of health expense, health benefits. Health benefits is only going to cover health-related expenses. But with living benefits, this is going to cover everything. We're talking about household expenses. If you want to do any form of home modifications, nursing home care, adult daycare, and then just paying your regular bills. And let's just say if you wanted to take a vacation somewhere, especially someone that's been diagnosed with a terminal illness and they don't have so much time to live, basically the provider, the carrier, the insurance company will issue me out, will send me a check, either myself or my company, and then that check will either be delivered to you personally or will be mailed to you. And now you have the freedom to do whatever it is that you want to do
Oh,
with this money. So you are able to take advantage of living benefits while you're still living, and you don't have to be an individual who passes away. And then only your family benefits. You as well as the policy holder will be able to benefit from this particular special thing that we have to offer.
oh, that's
And
awesome.
and I know with a lot of men, they don't like life insurance because they're afraid of being able to fund their wife's next next marriage once they're gone. But think about this right here. Someone is going to take care of your children. Well, somebody's going to take care of your kids. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. But if you're able to, as a man, provide for your family in the event of something happening, then hey, the widow may or may not be involved with someone else, but you can at least leave this earth knowing that your family is provided. You left a legacy for your family. Your family is protected. The best
Yeah,
way that you felt or suit possible to do.
that's really good information. Yeah, I actually didn't know there were so many different parts of insurance and a lot of good things there. Um, wow. Um, yeah, so wow, that's really good. So we don't have a whole lot of time left. What's one or two things you really want people to take away from today?
Um, Basically, there's a lot more of, I mean, this really, 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 life insurance can really, really, really go Jacques Cousteau deep. Um, each policy or different products that I'm able to provide, like I say, is going to be, designed for the individual and their families, and not all families are the same. Um, So I want people to understand, eliminate the myths of what you hear about life insurance. Life insurance is one of the greatest things that you can have as far as investing in. And then I don't even like to use the word investment because investment involves risk. There is no risk with life insurance. The only risk that you would take is not um, contributing to the premiums that need to be taken care of each month. But if you fulfill those obligations, then there is no risk at all. And I want to also mention, LS, that being involved in the financial services industry, I am in an industry that is at the very top of making you a millionaire, if that's something that is of it is of someone's desire. And it's
Yeah.
a very noble industry. I feel honored and blessed to be able to help individuals and their families be protected. And also, like I say, there's so much to impact. Even entrepreneurs who have businesses can benefit from life insurance. Also, there's just so many different things. But as I mentioned, each individual has a different unique situation.
Right, right. Wow, that's really good information. And where can people find you to find out more about this, to talk to you about what would work out best for them?
Okay, anyone that would like, more information, I can be reached through social media at Resmny, RESMNY, Facebook, Instagram, and I have to do a better job with LinkedIn, but Instagram and Facebook, I can be reached. And then my email address is resmny9@yahoo.com.
Okay, awesome. That's great information. Thank you so much, for Maurice, for being here today. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you giving this great insight, and especially to become a millionaire with life insurance. Who would have thought? That's really good news. So thank you, my pride and joy, for being here with us today. And
Thank you, with
um,
all pleasure for having me.
oh, definitely, definitely. We'll have to have you come back again. And if you want to see more about Maurice, go ahead and contact him on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And can you give us your email address again one more time?
RESMNY9@yahoo.com.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much. And we'll see you all next time on A Life to